This episode of Roofing University is brought to you by Primeline Tools.
Roofing is fun. Na 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 na. Roofing is fun. Na 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 na.
Hi guys, it's Tawnya here from Roofing University, and we are back with Vince from MetStar and Bat Group, and tonight he's going to be talking about the history of stone-coated steel roofs. So this is a topic that is absolutely so interesting, mostly because I love World War II. So Vince is going to go in and tell us all about the history of this amazing product.
All right, so there's this technology now that a lot of people think it's new. It's basically stone-coated steel. Okay, what this does is it gives you a nice finish on metal roofing. Most metal roofing, it's the paint that does it. If you want to go back in history, copper, zinc, lead, those are natural patinas that they have, so they never age. Painted metal ages. No matter what kind of painted metal you get, will fade with time. And it's also doesn't look very natural. It looks more commercial, even though now we've come up with profiles where painted metal can look natural. It doesn't look more natural than this.
No.
So the history of this thing, how it came about. First of all, this is the profile. It was Decra in New Zealand that invented this. Actually, there's a guy called Lou Fisher. He was a New Zealander who fought in World War II. And he fought for the British. And his job in World War II was, like a lot of Canadians, New Zealanders, Australians all went to Britain and helped and everything. His job was, when the Blitzkriegs were happening, to camouflage the hangars where the planes were. And normally these hangars, these Quonset huts, are usually made up of galvanized steel, like what you see in the back here.
Yeah.
Very shiny, when the airplanes...
The perfect target.
When the Red Baron was coming, and that was World War I, but when they were blitzing,
Yeah.
you would see them in the middle of the night, you would just see the shining hangars and everything. So this guy's job, Lou Fisher, was to camouflage it. And what they do to camouflage it, they used bitumen, pitch, asphalt, like the tar stuff. And they slapped it on all the hangars and put some leaves and branches in there so that it camouflaged.
Not knowing what product they were about to stumble on.
Exactly. They were just doing it to protect themselves, to
Right.
stay calm and carry on.
Yeah.
15 years after the war, this guy Lou Fisher went back, maybe on Remembrance Day, I don't know when, but he went back to England and he checked out, where he fought and to get memories and everything. Then he realized, wait a second, all the hangars that he put a coating on, which was an asphalt coating, bitumen, were in mint condition.
So he stumbled upon this.
Yeah.
This wasn't that he went back to check it out purposefully.
No, he
He
went
just-
to
he
reminisce,
just went, okay.
and then he sees this thing and he goes, wow, I got something here.
Yeah.
Because back then, galvanized steel would, if you would breathe on it, it would rust.
Yeah.
Like a little scratch on
Yeah.
it would immediately rust. So this was a great way of making metal last forever.
And stopping the oxidization process, right?
Yeah, the oxidization, which is the rusting, exactly. So when he went back to New Zealand, he goes, wait a second, we got something here. And he started selling just the spray, which had to be done on site.
Okay.
And the buildings looked drab, and they didn't look nice,
Yeah.
And he goes, wait a second, what if I do something with a nice profile and I manufacture it in the plant? So you had basically this profile right here, the reverse of this,
Yeah.
and he just sprayed asphalt on it. And he says, I'm gonna sell a whole bunch of this stuff.
Yeah.
So you had this beautiful panel with this coating on it, stacked them up, put them on pallets, put them outside ready to ship. Then when the sun would beat on it, he would go to lift them up and he couldn't, they would all stick together. So it's like, oh my gosh, what do I
Issue
do
number
here? So they started sprinkling sand. They said, wait a second, if we just sprinkle sand on it, then they won't stick.
Yeah.
Then with time, they said, wait a second, what if we use colored sand? And at the time they were using granite chips. So
Yeah.
you had green and blacks and brown. And that's where stone coated came out. And it took off.
Accidentally.
Yeah, it was an accidental thing,
Yeah.
and it took off. People started loving it. In Australia and New Zealand, it was on every roof. Still today, these types of roofs
Yeah.
are like what we see as asphalt shingles here. That's what you see there.
Oh,
70,
very
80%
cool.
of the roofs are
Very
stone-coated metal.
Yeah.
But there was a problem. in the first 10 years, they started with a lot of success. So much so that they had a competitor called Gerard. So you had Decra and Gerard
Yeah.
competing in this market. But 10 years later, the asphalt started drying out. The same
okay.
problem we have today with
Yeah.
asphalt. It dries out, the stone granules come out. Didn't damage the metal, but it didn't look nice.
Right.
So Decra had built up this great success. 10 years, boom, it hits TV, one of those consumer protection programs where it was called Fair Go, I think. And luckily, Decra was strong enough to come back from it. And what they did is they scoured, they had licensees all over the world, and they found one guy in South Africa that wasn't using asphalt. For some reason, they didn't have asphalt. Maybe they were refining petroleum
Right.
in South Africa. They were using acrylic paint.
Okay.
A very thick acrylic paint, and they
Yeah.
would embed the stone chip on it, and then they would put an acrylic paint on top.
Okay.
So the New Zealanders go, wait a second, we can do that, but instead of putting a second coat of paint, we'll put a clear acrylic on top.
To maintain the
Yeah.
pattern balance.
So then Decra came back. Gerard was attacking Decra because they didn't have any bad roofs, because they hadn't been around for 10 years.
Right, yeah.
They were the super roof.
Of course.
Anyway, long story short, now Decra owns Gerard all over the world except for North America.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. What's important is that any metal roof is better than asphalt shingles. When asphalt shingles first came out, they would last 40, even 50 years. And it was hard for metal to compete because we were so much more expensive. And you know, even though we lasted a lifetime, shingles were getting 50 years. You were getting 40, 50 years out of it.
Yeah.
The decrease in the longevity of the shingles have really propped metal up.
Yeah.
So any metal, whether it's stone coated, smooth, metal lasts forever. Painted metal might dull a little bit, might lose some color, but it's still not going to leak.
The benefits are still there. Yeah.
So, in other words, the worst metal roof is still better than the best asphalt shingle.
Awesome. I agree. Well, thank you so much again for having us and for going over everything with us. Once again, this is Vince from MetStar and Bat Group, and I'm Tawnya from Roofing University, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Big time!